Well, hello. Welcome to Positively Positive. And I am your host, Susan Mintz. Oh, we stuck a middle name in tonight. Anyway, we have an amazing show. All our guests are amazing. All the places are amazing. All the facilities are amazing. It's just a marvelous show. And the only one like it. I will say that after every show, before, during. We are the only show podcast available just continually. HIV, consistently, continually, none other. We are HIV AIDS related. Somehow, everyone you will see on our program has an HIV AIDS component, whether it is a person, whether it's an organization being represented, whether it's a community center, it doesn't matter. If you have a story, you're involved somehow, personally, caregiver, having to work for an organization, just let us know at Campbell Health Solutions or Susan Mintz. You contact me and we will get you the link to be able to be on our show because we are removing stigmas one story at a time. We're breaking down barriers one episode, one podcast at a time. We are doing groundbreaking, necessary, needed programming, and we are making a difference. We want to make a difference for the whole community in our country, our communities. We are just so full of resources in Palm Beach County, where we're located, but around the whole country or in South Florida, or just doesn't matter. When you connect with us, whether Campbell Health, we have the people that we can connect you to so you can get the best quality of care you can have. And we are proud of that we are helping our community and people all over this country by telling their stories. And it's exciting. So tonight, I have a returning guest, a favorite. She has a wonderful story. She's very involved. I like my guests. I ask the questions, but I like my guests to tell their own stories, talk about where they work, what they do, how they got involved. That's what makes this so very personal. So, as you know, when the glasses come off, it's exciting. I am going to say to my guest, Ashley Vickers, come on in.
Good evening.
Magic. There it is. Ta-da!
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I'm thrilled. And just be nice and loud and yell it all out. Ashley Vickers, number one, my boas are shedding. Number one, where are you working that you're involved with HIV? Before I back you up to how you started, where do you work now? What are you doing with HIV?
I am currently the prevention and training consultant at the Palm Beach County Health Department.
So you're employed by the Palm Beach County Health Department?
Yes.
And what is your position there?
Prevention and training consultant.
All right. How long have you been there?
I've been at the health department a total of 5 years, but in my current position, I've been doing this going on 2 years.
Okay. And where were you born? Refresh my memory and tell our listeners where you were born, how you got involved with this, and take me on your academic achievements. So just take me on your journey, Ashley.
Okay. So I was born in Belglade, Florida.
That's it.
Which is a very small town. It's so small that we don't have a Walmart, a movie theater, or a mall. So we're mostly known for our soil, our agriculture, sports. We're well known for football. So I graduated high school 2013 from Glade Central. Then I started off my academic journey in Tallahassee at Tallahassee Community College. That's where I got introduced to nursing. So I actually started off as a CNA. So I was doing that for a few years, and I honestly did enjoy it. And that's when I realized I had a passion for helping other people. Um, Fast forward up until I want to say 2020, that's when I was able to get my associate's degree at Palm Beach State. Then I transferred to Florida International University, where I obtained my bachelor's in psychology. And now I'm currently at Nova Southeastern University working on my master's in clinical mental health counseling. So I am a second year grad student, and by the grace of God, I will be finished with that next summer.
Wow, I remember that now that I said you're a professional student. I don't think you'll ever not be going for a degree in something, because I think that's part of your wiring. I think you love learning, you like being current, but your love for helping people, and certainly Belgrade is not, Delray is not West Palm Beach. Belgrade, it's not like I feel sorry, but I just think they do not get the visibility. We had somebody who's going to be back on from the library in Belgrade, and he talked about how wonderful it was. And I just want more people on from Belgrade so they get that visibility, because it really is important. And people don't hear about it very much, except they think maybe it's poor, or it's out in the boondocks, or it's strictly farmers, and it's not. It's still a city in Palm Beach County.
Correct. And that's what I tried to raise awareness with my job. And I made it very clear in my interview for this position. I was like, Belgrade is my heart, and I want to pour back into my community. I understand that I'm supposed to service the whole Palm Beach County, but the Glades area, so Pahokee, Belgrade, South Bay, that would be my top priority. So I made it my priority to do most of my work over there. And I was blessed last year to actually be honored as Woman of the Year by a nonprofit in the area because of the work I do. So it's noticeable that I am getting work done in that community. And it makes me happy that I'm also able to bring community partners with me in that community to provide services to those residents.
Services. I always say that in Palm Beach County, we are blessed to have amazing resources, but you still have to be able to get those resources to the people.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have transportation, or you're working two jobs and you don't have the money in so many ways, it's hard to be able to access what we do have here. And
Right.
we have a lot. Do you
Right.
still have family in Belgrade?
Yes, I still have family in Belgrade. I do.
But you say you live in West Palm Beach. Now, is
Yes,
that
I
because
said yes.
it's closer to your job?
Yes, and then also too, I have kids with autism, so it's more services for kids on the spectrum in West Palm Beach versus Belgrade. It's really not many services over there for kids with autism.
No. And you have one or two children.
Two kids. They recently just celebrated their birthdays. So I have a 5-year-old. She turned 5 February 15th, and my son turned 10 February 17th.
And you said one has autism, or they
Both
both?
of them have autism.
Wow. And these were biological children, or you
Yes,
adopted? Wow.
biological. Biological.
That's a show all in itself. That's amazing. Now, yeah. The other thing is, where do you see? I always like to ask. I'm glad that you're a woman of color, and I can ask you this: how do you see the men and women of color? The Black community, basically, not just here but all over. What's going on with men and women not being able to come out with whether it's their sexuality, or being afraid of what people are going to think, or I do find that is a big client base, that it is very much so, more than even the gay element, that it's a lot of African American men and women who are um, being hurt by HIV right now, because they're not coming out and getting the help they need.
Right. I think it's basically because of the stigma. I think the stigma surrounding HIV, what makes it difficult for people to actually come out and ask for help. Like I like to teach, people think that HIV is a death sentence. People think that they'll get shunned because they have HIV, but I would love for them to know that it's plenty of support out here. Um, Unfortunately, stigma, especially in the Belgrade area, prevents a lot of people from seeking help. Even when I be out doing HIV education or doing HIV testing, as soon as I mention the word HIV, they shy away from it.
Mm,
Be like, oh, well, no, I don't have to worry about HIV. HIV is nothing that will affect me. Or it's people that do have HIV, but they're scared to talk to me because they don't want anyone to see
yeah.
them in that environment. So it's really because of the stigma that prevents a lot of people of color to receive the help that they need.
Well, how do you think we're doing on that stigma front? Since you're involved with the health department, you're a frontline worker with what you do. How do you think we're doing right now in 2025 with removing the stigma and getting people to be talking about it like they do breast cancer or they
Right.
talk about getting a colonoscopy? I mean, why isn't it? Is it because it's a sexually transmitted disease? Why aren't more people out there talking that say, oh, yeah, I have it, big deal. I can take pills and I'll be okay. But
For one, lack of education. I don't think there are enough of providers that is willing to speak about HIV and that's knowledgeable about HIV. Especially when I go out and do my presentations in the community, it's a lot of things that I'm sharing to people that they're hearing it for their first time. And they
mhm.
could be like twice my age and they never heard of the information that I'm giving them.
And why then? Then what is the reason why? Is it because they don't want to or they just don't know?
I think it's the approach. I really think it's the approach. I really feel like you have to meet people at their level. I
Hmm.
feel like if you go into a space where they're comfortable at, it'll be easier to give these presentations instead of like forcing them out their comfort zone. So
Right.
I've noticed when I meet people where they're at, it's more easier for me to connect with them, especially those back home. They be like, okay, well, I know her, I'm familiar with her. So let me listen to what she has to say. And
Hmm.
honestly, I have people that will like text me or inbox me on Facebook and be like, hey, can you come and test me for HIV? And I tell them, sure, just give me a location and I'll be there.
Yeah, that's what it is. Meeting people where they are. Don't talk over people
Right.
at any level. Don't talk over me. Just give me the facts and meet me where I am.
Right.
I can't go back 30, 40 years. We can't do that. And I
Right.
really don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Meet me where I am on this journey.
Right.
And you're very approachable, though, Ashley. I mean, that's another thing. When I met you previously, you are easy to talk to, and you're very passionate about what you do.
Yes.
Um, as far as um, medications, is there any one like you're doing testing all the time, correct, with the health department, or you more?
I help community partners with their testing.
Okay, but
Mhm.
as far as the medications go, how do you feel we're doing with getting people the medications they need and being able to afford them?
I think we're doing exceptionally well despite everything that might be going on up under Trump's administration. I feel like we're doing well. I feel like we're able to get people into care, and the people that we're getting into care, like the agencies, I feel like they're able to assist them with whatever they issues they may have. So whether that's transportation, so providing them Ubers or Lyfts or getting them bus passes, I really feel like we're doing well on that part into getting them into care. Now it's just up to the client themselves whether they stay in care.
Yeah, that's what I hear a lot. It's one thing to
Yeah.
get a person in care. It's
Hmm.
another thing for them to show up and stay in care and do that. But
Correct.
there's reasons why too. It's not always that they don't want to. There's reasons why
Right.
also.
Right.
And as far as and I met you through the Care Council previously. Is that how we first met, or how did we meet originally?
I'm trying to remember because it's been like a while now, so I'm trying to remember. This I don't remember.
our community, this show is amazing because we're bringing people from all different walks of life
Mhm.
and everything together. And that's what makes it so exciting because we have new guests, returning guests, and someone like yourself. I mean, here you were raised in Belle Glade, you live in West Palm, you have two children who are on the autistic spectrum, and yet you're so passionate and committed. Do you think that you can be involved with the people that, unless, I mean, when you take on a ministry, let's say, of HIV, or you're commissioned, or it's part of it's going to be your life,
Mhm.
and all your degrees you have from being a CNA and all this other, do you think though that you can't get out of it because you're called to be into, if you're called into HIV work, do you see yourself ever out of it?
No, I don't never see myself leaving out of work surrounding HIV. Even now that I'm trying to take another career path with becoming a licensed mental health counselor, I am certified as an HIV counselor. So I do want to incorporate the two. But my passion with HIV, I feel like God brought me into this profession for a reason, and I want to continue it. I just don't want to stop. And then like it's so funny because some people recognize me as the HIV lady. So so it's like, yeah, I started it, so I can't stop now.
Yeah, it's wonderful because I think, I always say, you don't choose your
Right,
message chooses you.
right.
And when you get involved personally, like you have, there had to be a distinct reason why that you're involved, because some people are not meant to be with people to
Right.
do this. And I think you've mentioned God several, in a way. Were you raised in a Christian background?
Yes, my grandparents raised me. My grandfather was a pastor, my grandma was the first lady. So yes, I was raised in church.
I picked that up. I picked that up real quickly last time also. Are they still alive?
Unfortunately, no. My grandma died August 2021. My grandpa died last year in July 31st.
Oh, I bet they were proud of you, right?
Yes.
Don't get the Kleenex out. Didn't mean to touch on anything like that.
I
Get
will
the
hope. I will hope they were
You
proud
know
of
that they're looking down right now on you and saying, "Keep it up, girl. Keep it up. I'm so proud of you." You betcha. You don't go into work like ours if you
me.
don't
Right,
have a personal commitment.
right.
Do you see any? We talked about the African American men and women, but do you see any where we're going with funding? That's a big thing for me also because so many resources are being cut. Do
Hmm.
you see the health department, the HIV funding, Ryan White funding? Do you see any of that going away and under this administration, or you don't know?
Hmm. That question is pretty tough to answer because I would want to think from like a human aspect, someone with a heart, that you wouldn't take away that necessary resource for those that really needs Ryan White, to those that can't afford their HIV medication because it's expensive. I didn't realize how much HIV medication was until I started working in ADAP. And then that's when
Mhm.
I realized, like, whoa, like this resource right here is like God sent, because how could people, afford their medication without Ryan White? So I would pray and hope that they keep Ryan White around, because without this medicine, people would die. And I
Yeah.
hate to put it like that, but they will die because if they can't afford medication, how they're supposed to continue with their care?
What does ADAP stand for again?
AIDS Drug Assistance Program.
AIDS Drug Assistance Program. And
Yes.
that's where they would apply, go to the health department, you'd be positive, and once you're
Yes.
positive, then you can apply. Is there a certain cutoff on how much you can make on the side or work? Is there a
Yes, I know it's income based, so you can't make too much. I'm not sure about the number, but it's income based. So once you do get approved for that, you're able to get medication, sometimes free. It'll normally be free. You're able to sign up for health insurance, and then it's also another, like, it's a long list of other resources you could get, like mental health, transportation. The list is very long. So
Uh,
riding the bike helps out with a lot.
I mean, you have a degree in mental health, isn't that true? You
Yes, I
got
have
it
my bachelor's in psychology.
in any specific branches. My late husband was in a clinical psychologist in marriage and family, drug and alcohol. He was a doctor in that field,
Mhm.
and he really was very good. He lived, he would have been all the one on TV all the time. He was excellent. And so, what did you like about the mental health counseling aspect? Because you can't have one without the other. Your whole body, it is all
Right,
well-being.
right. What I enjoyed the most is just it's really hard to even put into words because it's really amazing how your mind works. And it is unfortunate how you could deal with different illnesses and how it could basically corrupt your way of thinking and how the way you live. But I do enjoy learning about those things so I could see the signs and I could be able to help other people out, especially like people of color, because it's the stigma when it comes down to mental health.
Right.
People of color think that I'm not crazy. I don't need to go see nobody. I don't have to talk to them people. I don't want them people in my business. So it's really important to me to be a woman of color, getting my degree in license in clinical mental health counseling, so I could better approach my people and be like, hey, I understand I'm right here with you, but you need help. Let me help you. Let's figure this out together.
What's going on with the mental health? I mean, I can understand still why people aren't, saying, well, I'm HIV positive. I'm going to go play bridge now. I mean, I can understand that, but what's this mental health reason why people don't want to talk about that? Tell me about what's happening.
Because they don't believe it. They simply don't believe it. Or it's hard for them to understand what's going on. Or they're just simply scared to just talk through their feelings. So instead of, if they're not talking about it, it doesn't make it real for them. So long as they keep it to themselves, it's not an issue. But once they start talking about it, then they're like, okay, this actually is happening. I am HIV positive. Now I have to face reality. And it's really hard for a lot of people to accept reality.
Yeah, and the mind is an amazing place where we can
Right,
compartmentalize stuff.
right,
Denial, we're real good at that. And I
right,
think that's one of the things that separates us from the species, good or bad, is that we're able to put things we don't like in a place that we don't have to deal with it until something erupts that
right.
brings it forward, and then it can be too late.
Correct.
So you think that we need to have much more broad spectrum programming on mental health as well as HIV, but with mental health in this country, even now, very seldom do you even have a program on mainstream media that talks about it until
Mhm.
someone jumps off a roof or kills somebody, then they blame it on, they had mental health issues. Probably 50% of us in the country have some kind of a mental health
Right,
issue
right.
at some point. I'm really proud to, I have no issues saying, of course I got mental health issues,
Hmm.
but I know how to deal with them.
Yeah, and then sometimes too, working in this field, it can be a little bit overwhelming. It can be depressing because it's just like I done came across a few, like a certain amount of people that basically needed the help, but they shied away from the help. Like a couple of weeks ago, I helped out a community partner at her HIV drive. And it was a mobile unit. So basically, we were outside, like welcoming people to get tested, and there was this one particular woman, she was walking past us, and we was like, hey, why you just won't come get tested? We have free food. We're giving away gift cards. And she basically told us, well, why would I want to get tested? I don't know you guys. But it was obvious that she was like a sex worker. So
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking to myself, you will do things with people you don't know in order to
Mm-hmm.
get what you want. But when it comes down to your health and we're trying to help you, you're shying
Wow.
away from us because you don't know us. So in a way that kind of like bothered me because it's like we have your best interest at heart. So
That's amazing. I've never heard that before. Say that whole little thing again about this person who you thought. Tell me about. It might be a sex worker. Talk to me. That was wonderful. I'd never heard that before.
Yes, a sex worker was walking past the mobile unit. Me and another woman, we were outside, like trying to welcome her in, telling her, "Hey, we're giving away free food. We have gift cards. Just come get tested." And she was like, "Well, I don't know you guys, so I don't feel comfortable with you guys testing me." But in a way, that made me feel like we have your best interests at heart. We just want to help you, especially with the work you do. We know it's risky. So we want to help you, but you will do things with people you don't know to get the things that you think you need, whether that's drugs, money, you will do that. But when it comes down to us caring about your overall health, your well-being, you're telling us no because you don't know us. But what makes us different from them? You don't know.
Why did you think she was a sex worker?
Oh, simply because of, okay, for one, you was able to tell she was high. She was high. She was like under the influence of some type of drugs. Also too, she was walking down the street with a tight, short dress on, no shoes. Her hair was in a frenzy, like makeup all down her face. And this was like 4:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Well, that's so real.
And then while we was sitting there, because they were like, we was in a neighborhood, like a well-known neighborhood in West Palm. While we was sitting there, we actually seen her go behind the building with someone.
Could have been drugs. Could have been drugs too.
Yeah.
Combination of things. That's so sad. That's so sad because that's the kind of people you need to help, but they're the most likely to maybe resist.
And then, like, I try to make it very clear to people, there's no judgment passed by me. There's no judgment passed by me because we all have a story to tell. I'm just here to help you. I'm just here to help you, genuinely help you. But she did say she goes to Found Care and she gets tested. So, and then she also told us, and they have a building, an actual building, not a mobile unit. Right. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that's Found Care. Yeah, I want someone from them is supposed to be on at some point too. They used to be CAP. Then right after, but when Jeff was ill, and afterwards they were with CAP, and I was involved with them then, and then it became Found Care. Are they still in the same place then in Delray, or they moved location?
Found Care have multiple locations, if I'm not mistaken, because I think I seen a new location popped up.
CAP was wonderful. CAP was really great. They were ahead of their time in a way, but they serviced a lot of people during the late 80s and 90s, and I don't know when they left. So you meet a lot of different people out in the field, don't you?
Yes, I do. I come across a lot of different, unique people. I just come across a lot of people.
How about single mothers? How do you feel about what's going on with the single moms in the African American community?
Like I like to teach single moms, we have Black women syndrome. So basically, we think that we're too busy to help ourselves because we're too worried about work. We're too worried about getting our kids situated. It's just too much going on to where we can't put time aside for ourselves to get tested or get the help we need. And I love to try to tell my Black moms, especially my Black single moms, it's okay to take time out for yourself because you matter. At the end of the day, you matter. You need to take care of you so you could be here to take care of them. So I try to, like I said, I'll meet anyone, anywhere. I don't mind by someone telling me, hey, Ashley, can you come test me for HIV? Sure, just give me an address. And I do not mind by doing that.
What did you call it? Ashley, what did you call it? Black women syndrome?
Black strong woman syndrome.
Black young women or Black women? No.
Black strong woman syndrome.
Black strong women syndrome. Is that something you just named, or is it a real?
No, this is actually something I heard from another Black woman that was talking about this topic.
And it's taking care and doing everything else but taking care of yourself.
Right.
Wow. See, I'm telling you, these programs for me, these shows are so great. I learned so much. Like I'd never heard of that before.
Mhm.
Strong Black women syndrome.
And it's real because I seen my mom, because my mom was a single parent and it was four of us. And I seen my mom juggle jobs. I seen my mother like come home after a long day, not wanting to talk to nobody, just close herself up in the room. And I never understood that until I became a mom myself. And I'm like, okay, now I see why my mom just wanted peace and quiet when she came home. I understand completely now. I understand completely.
Yeah. So, we're also in Palm Beach County. I said to a previous guest, I said, it's like this large dysfunctional family that's family. Because once you even go beyond yourself, if you have 2, 5, 10 people, you're already going to have some issues.
Mhm.
So dysfunction doesn't mean it's not working. But when
Right.
you have all these resources and all these people together and all these different, agencies and personalities, yeah, there can be some issues to come up, but we are
Right.
working together to get people tested, get the
Mhm.
providers they need, get the resources they need, get tested and know your status. And I'm so
Right.
proud of Richardo for that reason also, because
Mhm.
he took the initiative with Campbell Health Solutions to do all this and to launch his business. And it's marvelous because he really is a motivator, not only here, but people know him all over the state and outside
Mhm.
the state. And the other things like when you mention someone's name, if I say at a care council meeting, oh, you need to be on, Ashley Vickers was just on, she's just absolutely wonderful. People would go, oh, isn't she wonderful? She's got the heart of a. People know you by your name. People know people by their character. People shouldn't have to brag about what they do. People will know you for who
Mhm.
you are. And I knew that, even when you were going to school for all these different degrees, you love it. You love that it
Right.
says here, knowledge is power. When it says get tested, it's better to know. Knowledge is power. That's where you're coming from also.
Right.
Are you
And
a
I
single
feel like
mom? What,
no,
dear?
no, I'm not.
You're married?
No, I'm not married. But the dad is in the picture. The dad is in the picture.
Is he pretty close in the picture?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, we're together.
Oh, that's good. I didn't want him to
Mhm.
be like, a vapor. That's good. So we have somebody who's you can count on.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's, I'm involved with, very involved for 20 years with my church, and now it's predominantly African American,
Mhm.
Hispanic, wonderful place, prophetic, apostolic, and I love it. But I do know that even there is a reclusiveness coming to talk about STDs or
Right,
HIV.
right,
You
right.
can feel it because I'm a white woman who's out there, bold as could be. It's my ministry,
Mhm.
and I could just tell that some people have been very receptive, and others, I can spot who they are. Who you really need to talk to me.
Right. It's a lot of people in the church, especially Black churches, that's uncomfortable with talking about this topic simply because you're not supposed to be having sex out of wedlock, anyways. So they probably feel like, why is this a discussion that's being had if you're not supposed to be having sex with nobody but your husband or your wife? So I noticed like sex, HIV, STDs, pregnancy outside of wedlock, that's something that's really frowned upon in the church. So that's what really keeps a lot of people from going to church now too. I've noticed that because they think they're going to get judged. And
Yeah,
sadly, that is the case sometimes, especially when there's a smaller church full of older members because they don't understand today's time. So that could be an issue too, unfortunately. But
yeah.
hopefully I could help change that. I'll try my best.
Well, I think what you're doing, the way you reach out,
Hmm.
is an amazing way because you had other avenues if you did want to with your education, but
Right.
you stayed with HIV and you really, really enjoy working with people and encouraging them and getting them tested and staying healthy. So
Right.
I think, do you have any other group though, whether it be young people or seniors? Do you have any other group that you think are really being impacted with HIV and STDs that people aren't talking about?
Um, I would say my seniors, because they think condoms is only to prevent pregnancy. And like I told them before, I told them this today. You still need condoms to help prevent HIV and STDs. It's not only for pregnancy. And then surprisingly, especially in these assisted living facilities,
Oh,
they have high rates of STDs.
oh yeah.
Yeah. And they normally, when they see me with my condom bowl, they'll be like, oh, we don't need those. I'm not trying to have a baby. But if you're having sex here, you need to take some.
I'm mind boggled by this phenomenon that women think because they're of a certain age and they're after
Right.
menopause
Right.
and they're, and then, as I said, I'm always on the show, on all my shows, mentioning about these erectile dysfunction meds that you can get in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's ever a group having more sex than anybody, it's over 55,
Right.
60, 65.
Mm-hmm.
Time, availability, convenience.
And
They're
then
having,
I honestly met someone while I was doing my HIV testing, and he told me he was 65, but he even told me, and I was very proud of him though, he's on PrEP. And I was like, oh, that's good. Because I was so surprised because like in my 2 years of doing this is my first time coming across a senior that's taking PrEP. So I'm like, okay, you're out here and you're taking the measures to protect yourself. So that made me really happy.
was he straight or gay?
He was heterosexual, so he was straight.
See? Yeah,
Mhm.
it doesn't matter anymore. Get rid
Right,
of the stigma. Yeah, a lot of heterosexual men who are seniors and women are having a lot of sex.
right,
It's called retirement communities. You're retired, you got a lot of time, and even if you don't have money, it's really convenient. I mean,
right. Very convenient. Social media makes it convenient.
yeah, I mean that's what I was going to mention. We had a guest on who met his wife. The second one met on a match site, and of course, I didn't grow up with any of that. You just you talk to somebody and
Right.
you wanted to sleep with them, you go to bed with them, you did it. You didn't need all this. You just eyeballed it and said, "This is it." In the '60s, the '70s. I mean, it was just a time in my life that you didn't have any of these match sites. So I'm just thinking of still Match.com, and he's telling me about all these different sites that are really, really finite match sites that you can get
Mhm.
almost anything. And he was doing the whole show, almost half the show on it. And I thought it was amazing. So would you find that you have people that who are doing that too, or that is there any one site that you think people are on? What's going on?
Well, I know for a fact people be on Facebook. It's not hard for people to find like people on Facebook. But to be honest, while I've been out in the field, I haven't heard any stories from anyone like meeting people up online, but I know they do it. They just don't share it.
Yeah. Do you do
Mhm.
private? Do you do groups of seniors and talk about it with groups or any of that? Outsource.
Um, Sometimes it'd be a mixture. Like I been teaching at a supportive housing facility, so they have a mixture. So it's like the ages range from 18 to like 65.
Oh, where is that? What is that?
It's called Care for Supportive Housing.
And where is that?
This is near I'm not know if you're familiar with Curry Park, but it's near like downtown West Palm, I want to say.
And what is it? A once a week you do it? What is it?
I
I've
do
never
it
heard
twice
of
a
it.
month, every other Wednesday.
Say it again for me and what it is.
Car for supportive housing. I do HIV prevention and awareness presentations to the residents there every other Wednesday from 11 to 12.
And so people live there.
Yes, people live there, and I love it. They give them so many resources. They have mental health resources. They're honestly hoping for more community partners to basically share their resources because they're more so of a newer company. So they're willing for people to come in to help out their residents. So I actually found out about this place because of a friend I had that was doing her internship there. So she was in school to be a counselor. So she was doing her internship there. So she invited me there, and that's how I was introduced to them.
When you are there again, would you ask someone from their organization, their place, to be a guest on the show?
Sure, I'll definitely do that. I'll do that.
That's how this is growing.
Yes, I'll do that.
I ask people, really, we have more resources that people don't know about. We have more people that people don't know about. And that would be really wonderful. And you can give them your link, send them the calendar link, or they can get in touch with Campbell Health Solutions.
Yes, I'll do that. I'll make sure to do an email tomorrow morning and put Ricardo in the email. I'll do that.
Yeah, that would be wonderful, because we'd be able to really give them some visibility.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I love it. This is all networking, it's just different than being in person, but that would be a great place. You just said the magic word. They'd like people to know more.
Yes. They would love people to come in and give resources to their residents.
And if you have, if you ever keep the calendar link itself, the calendar, you can just forward that on to people. The StreamYard link is different, but the calendar link would be wonderful if you want to forward it on and talk to anybody about doing this. The other thing is, do you find that the doctors, how are we doing with doctors here in Palm Beach County? You think we have a good group of infectious disease doctors?
I think we do have a good group of infectious disease doctors. There's an event I was at that the councilwoman of Riviera Beach, she had an event for HIV, National Black HIV AIDS Awareness Day. And she did have a few Black doctors in there speaking about HIV and the progress of HIV and the work they do. So I was honestly impressed with the things I was hearing, because to be honest, I don't really come across a lot of doctors. I haven't worked with a doctor yet. So just to hear these doctors doing that type of work in HIV, it made me happy.
Yeah. And I think, again, we're such a densely populated area. I think we have some very good physicians here because of the need that is here. But a lot of people, I've had many guests over the past year and a half who have said that when they went to their doctor, they didn't feel well. And the doctor just said it was they were menopause, or they were stressed, and they didn't get the results. For 6 months, they had all their labs done. They were treated with this and that, until they finally, requested, or they were that ill. And I think that's what I also wanted to ask you about. Mm-hmm. Why does it not? Why is it not on physicals in general? When they do your labs, your blood, your glucose, your high blood pressure, they do all this stuff. Mm-hmm. Why aren't they doing it for HIV?
I honestly feel like they're not doing it for HIV simply because it's really hard to say, because it still doesn't make sense. And not only they don't do that for HIV, they also don't do that for certain STDs like herpes. You have to request that stuff. And because I remember one time I went to my Black OBGYN and I'm like, okay, well, I like to get tested. And then she was like, basically questioning me on, well, why would you want to get tested? And I was like, because I'm sexually active. That's why I would like to be tested, please. I actually feel like I'm pulling teeth to get the care I need.
Yes, please.
I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
HIV, that's really hard to even answer why they don't even have that as like a regular workup.
I don't. I mean, considering it's mind-boggling that people will brag about their high blood pressure pills, their diabetes meds. They'll brag about now the weight reduction medication. They'll brag about so much. Mm-hmm. But the two things they don't talk about are mental health, and they don't talk about getting tested for HIV on a physical.
Yeah, like I said, it's the stigma behind it. It's the stigma.
It's just another vial of blood. You already took 4.
Right. Especially when I was doing my HIV testing today. They was like, are you going to take a lot of blood from me? I'm like, no, it's just going to be a prick. It's only a prick.
Oh, for that. But if you're doing your yearly labs.
Yeah, then it'll be, the blood being drawn. But yeah.
I mean, you took 3 vials for my iron? Am I D? Am I B? You could take another one, that type of thing. I think it's not just politics. I think it's probably financial involved too, that maybe it's just more profitable for drug
Correct.
companies and for
Correct.
everybody trying to keep you ill
Correct.
or
Thank you.
needing this. I don't think there's any money in being healthy.
Right. And I don't think so neither, because if
No.
there are cures, then it won't be many people needing the medications to try to basically suppress the HIV. Because if there's a cure, we're just going to go ahead and spend our money on the cure. We're not going to continue to buy HIV medication if there's a cure. So I feel like it's all into politics and money too. And that's sad to say that people care more about money than people well-being, than their life.
That's where we are in this country.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It isn't working. We are really neglected a lot of wonderful people who shouldn't have been neglected. And
right.
And I don't see it going backwards yet. I don't see that trend where people who really have the need are not getting their needs met.
Right.
And it hurts. It hurts when you're a person also like yourself who is out there and who wants to help people because your heart is pure and wanting to do it. There's nothing for you to gain. You can get a job in a lot of places.
Right.
So it's not
as if thinking too, because I was like, I know I'm a very ambitious woman, but a couple of months ago, I was thinking to myself, I would love to run for like councilman or councilwoman or something to get a chair in my hometown. I would love to try to sit down and make a difference. But politics, like I know it'll be kind of like a push and pull, because I know I'm genuinely in there to help my community. And there are some people in those chairs that's purposely taken away from the community. So I know that politics is like a different world. And I don't even think that like morally I'm ready for that.
Yeah, politics has a lot to do with self, but not self-care, just self.
Right. Whatever.
And you're in the healing arts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if you're in the healing arts and you're in the compassionate issues and you're out there wanting to heal and help and do all those great things, politics may not be the best fit for you.
Right.
You have to be a certain mentality. And I think you go into anything, even medicine. Don't you think doctors go into medicine wanting to make a difference?
Yes. I eventually think it starts off like that. I believe anybody that wants to get in some type of healing profession has a passion for helping people, because why would you want to be? But you know what? It's kind of different now because of social media, because social media glorifies a lot of professions because of the money and the lifestyle, but they actually don't talk about what these people actually have to go through on a daily basis at their job. So there are a lot of, I like to call them mean girls, as nurses, doctors, physician's assistants, because of the glamour of it, but they actually don't have a passion for it. So sadly, now because of social media, it's really going to be our downfall when it comes down to these helping professions.
We are living in strange times.
Yes.
Very strange. What did you give your children that they're so quiet?
Oh, because they're in their rooms watching TV.
Oh,
I'm thankful that they're quiet because, yeah.
Oh, they're marvelous. I want to, well, we have just a moment left. I want to say, Ashley Vickers, thank you so much. And how can people reach you? I want to put that down.
Okay, so people can reach me at my email, which is ashley.vickers@flhealth.gov. But I honestly like to give out my personal email because it's more easier to reach me at that, because I'm more accessible. But there's also social media too by my name. It's easy to find me by my name.
And so it's ashley.vickers@floridahealth.gov. Yeah. But I want to thank you for an amazing show, and follow up with that group.
Yes, I am. I'll make sure to email them because they'll be so happy that I mentioned them, and they'll be happy to have a representative on board to talk to you guys.
Wonderful. Yeah, we just posted it. And I want to thank Richardo Jackson of Campbell Health Solutions for being so wonderful and having a program like this and seeing the need. So I thank my guests tonight, and I thank my viewers. Though some of you are so loyal, thank my viewing audience for tuning in and helping to support what we are doing. And, I'm Susan Mintz, and this is Positively Positive, and we're always going to be committed to love. That's a good thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.